why don't we start off with you introducing yourself?
Hi, my name is Noelle. I'm 15 years old. I'm from Germany. I have spent the past 9 months in Newside, Mississippi. It's a little town. It's been extremely amazing.
Great, great. Oh, wow, I can't believe I forgot you were 15. That's really on the younger side for the
Mhm.
participants to come on this program. And so, what motivated you to come to the US for a year?
When I was in sixth grade, I watched a YouTube video about a girl that was talking about an exchange year. I have never heard of it before. I was like, what's that? And then she talked about it. And when I found out and realized what it was, I was like, I have to do that. Like, that's what I want to do. I've been so passionate about it like the whole time. And I talked about it so much, like with my friends, my parents, my teachers, everyone basically. And then I applied when I finally could and when I was finally old enough. And I just really wanted to see the culture. I love exploring new things. And I wanted to see how it is compared to the movies.
Hmm.
This place is definitely not out of the movies, but it's America too. So
Sure,
I
sure. Well,
really
tell me a little more about your host community. So you're in New Site, Mississippi, and tell me how big is your high school?
basically the only thing that that new site has is the high school. We have about 270 students. We don't
Mhm.
have American football. The school is really, really nice. Like the people are so great. With it being a smaller school, an exchange student is like really special. So I was kind of like a little celebrity at my school.
That's so cool. So, how does it compare? Like, what were your expectations before you came on program? Obviously, comparing to the movies, you knew that was probably not going to be accurate. But
Yeah.
now, having been there for a year, how does it compare? It sounds like you've had some great opportunities. How did you find those opportunities with such a small town and such a small community?
Here, especially in the South and especially in Mississippi, church is a really big thing. My host parents are really involved in the church as well. I got to meet a lot of people there. Actually, another German exchange student is at my church too. So we became really, really close friends. And I went on some trips with her and her host family. We went to Florida, we went to Georgia together, we went to New York together. My host parents' son, he lives about 2 hours from here in a big city. There's a college there, so it's a bigger town.
Bigger, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took me to the capital of Mississippi where I met a House representative. We talked a little and then he invited me to become a page for a week there. So I got to do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Tell me more about that. I know your host, I think it was your host dad and your LC reached out to me because they were super, super impressed with just the impression of yourself that you gave to that representative, so much so that you were invited to be a page. Tell me more about what that program was like and what you did and how it went.
basically, I went to Jackson, Mississippi, which is the capital, for a week. I was there with about like some other students. I think in total we were about 18 people. When they all found out that I was from Germany, they were like, ah, that's so cool. It kind of like went around and people heard a lot about like the German girl. All the different representatives were like coming up to me like, who of you is the German girl? And so I got to talk to a lot of different representatives, which I'm really grateful for. But yeah, we spent 5 days in the Capitol and we got to watch political debates. And I got to go on different events with my representative. It was such a great experience. Such a great experience because it was such a different life compared to my daily life here. Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Do you feel now like you have a better understanding of sort of the role of state government in the United States? Because it's a really complex system. So how did it play out when you were there in person?
It showed me that politicians can be fun too.
Okay.
Because I really expected everyone to be like really fancy and stuff like that, but people were pretty chill, like outside of the debates and all of that. You could make jokes and talk to them like they were just normal people, which they are, but it's kind of hard to understand that sometimes.
Yeah, and I think the impression that all of us have of politics and government is that it's very tense. There might be a lot of like fighting, political views being what they are, and the overall feeling of like how in the United States, especially, we don't love talking about politics because people have very strong opinions. So when you were there in person, did it feel less like that? It sounds like maybe it was easier to talk to people than you expected.
I mean, I wasn't like walking around asking people about their political opinions, but you could kind of tell, especially in Mississippi, the opinions can be really extreme, which I really had to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
When I was there, it wasn't really like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
the people, it wasn't like all they would talk about is politics and their opinions and what they think about this law or what they think about that. I really enjoyed that because I was really scared at the beginning that it was going to be like that, but it wasn't.
Sure. I think something that a lot of people get intimidated about is those ideas about political ideology and
Yeah.
they can be intimidated just in general about the stereotypes, especially in the
Mhm.
South or in Mississippi. You said you had to get used to it and it took some getting used to. What did you do to help yourself get more comfortable? What are some strategies you had?
I am a really open-minded person. And I knew that, I mean, I didn't know that the South was really like that, but I knew that in the United States in general, like I was prepared to come into a family or a community with like really big opinions. And especially like because here, like there are only like two main political parties that, so it's like, you're either that
Mm-hmm.
or that. And it's kind of complicated, but
Yeah.
I just told myself that that's how people here just are. It really depends on the area where you grow up. I know that and I realize that. And if your whole environment has this one opinion that they're always talking about, then I don't know. I know that I don't have to think the way they think and they don't have to think the way I think.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can have their own opinion. You can still have some discussions as long as it stays calm. But I think it's also really interesting to see different political opinions when it comes to stuff like that. And I love to ask questions about like their opinions because I really want to know what makes them think that way.
That's such a great strategy.
Yeah.
Trying to understand why they think the way they do
Yeah.
and asking a lot of questions. That's great. Part of one of the reasons that I wanted to interview you in particular is, like I said, both your LC and your host family have said that you're like this awesome kid and you really put yourself out there and try so many things. What are some things that you did that were new that you tried while you've been on program and have been like a fun new experience for you?
Can't really think of like one certain thing, but I am very open for new things. Like whenever someone is like, "Hey, do you want to try this?" I'm like, "Sure," you know, because you only live once, right? So, like every time my host parents would go eat somewhere or I would go eat with someone else, and they talk about like some food that I've never heard of. I always ask them to explain it to me and then I'm like, sure, I want to try that. Like at my school I did archery, which that's something I've never done before. And I thought, hey, we don't really have that a lot of like in Germany, so might as well try it.
Yeah, why not? It sounds like you said yes to a lot of things.
Yes, definitely.
Was that like part of your strategy or just something that seemed to be part of who you are?
I think it's really kind of part of who I am. I just want to experience as much as possible. So even when there are like things where I'm like, okay, that could be kind of awkward, but it also could be really cool. I'm like, okay, let's just try. If it's awkward, that's still an experience, you know?
There you go. Yes, I love that. I think one of the biggest reasons that people miss out on things is they feel uncomfortable or they're worried about something's going to be awkward. And I always feel like, well, exactly what you said, even if it's awkward, that was an experience, right? What's something that surprised you about your time on program?
I'm really surprised about the openness of people towards me. Like at school, I thought that people, like I would always have to reach out to people. Like they tell you at the beginning of the program, okay, you have to be confident enough to just come up to people and be like, hey, want to do something together? Or hey, want to eat lunch together? Or something like that. But I think also it's part of because I'm on a really small school, people just come up to you and they're like, hey, aren't you that new German girl? Do you want to, I don't know, do that and that? Or also at church, the church that we go to, there's a lot of like older people, but they were all so nice and
Mhm.
kind and open. And everyone asked so many questions about Germany and I loved answering it. I have had no idea how passionate I was about my country before I came here.
Cool.
I
That's
think
great.
that's like what surprised me the most, how open people can be.
And it sounds like you've had overwhelmingly very positive experience, but I know even for students who have the best year of their lives, it's not all good. It's not all easy, I should say. Can you tell us a little bit about things that you did struggle with, even if it was back at the beginning of the year, and how you helped yourself get through it and feel better?
Probably really some of the opinions that people have, because I am really used to an open like environment, like don't really talk a lot about their religion or their political opinions, like not in a really extreme way.
Hmm.
But here it's like something that people talk about a lot, and they are not really open to change their mind about some things.
Mm,
And I'm not trying to change their mind. I'm just, I don't know, I don't really share all of the opinions.
hmm.
And it's kind of hard sometimes when people talk about something, like they're what they think about something and you don't agree, but you also don't want to like really say it because you feel like that would be disrespectful, or you would hurt their feelings, or they wouldn't like you anymore. But having my other German exchange student here has really, really helped me with that, because we could always talk about it. We were always texting like some nights and like talking about the things that were just kind of hard. Like people can be very like
like stuck.
defensive.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Defensive. Yeah. It sounds like having an outlet is a really important thing. So having that one really good friend was really helpful. And also, do you feel like now that you've been there for more of the year that you've kind of learned to just listen and let it go? Or,
Yeah.
like how has that changed? You're taking in those attitudes because that's still there, but now you've
Yeah.
changed.
Before I came here, I was like, okay, if someone is like, well, I wouldn't say discriminating others, but just not being really accepting others if they're doing something that they're not really used to. I always thought that I could never live with people like that. Like I could never even tolerate that or talk to them or just be with them. And I think that has really changed. Like I just take it in and I'm like, okay, you think that way, that's okay. If you want to think that way, it's your life. It's
Sure.
okay. I
Yeah.
accept it. That opinion doesn't make a person less of other good qualities. Like someone
Yeah.
could still be kind and loving, and I didn't think that way before I came here.
Sure. Yeah. I was going to say, do you think the fact that you've been there for so long and had the opportunity to really spend time and see more of these people has impacted that feeling?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's so hard about the media perception that's out there or about just sort of like the TV idea of the United States is you don't have the opportunity to see the rest of a person, the whole
Yes.
the whole person as a whole. That's cool that you've had the opportunity to do that. Talk to me a little bit about your host family.
Okay, so my host family consists of my host mom. She is 57 years old, and my host dad is 61, I believe. I'm pretty sure he's 61. And they own a flower business right here at the house. My host dad is a truck driver, so he is gone every week, and he's only home on the weekends most of the time, and then he has to unload the truck and load it again. So yeah,
Hardworking.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
very hardworking people, and I admire that so much. They are super busy, but they're so generous. They help so many people. They've taken me into their home. They've provided for me. They've laughed with me. They've cried with me. They have been there the whole time. And I knew that no matter what I felt, I could just always talk to them about it. And they're really, really kind people. And I am so grateful for like everything they've done for me.
That's awesome. I know for some students, they feel strongly like they want another teen in the home, or they feel like that if there's no kids around, it doesn't feel like a family. So that can be a challenge. How has it been for you being just you with your host parents, and what have you done to help yourself stay engaged and stay busy?
Before I came here and before I got my host family, I was really, I don't know, like I always imagined when I would go to the US, I would be like in a young family with kids. Like they told us that we might not be able to go here because there's not enough host families. And so when I got my host family, I had no expectations at all. No expectations. Like all the things that I've thought about for like the 4 years that I wanted to do that were just all gone. I was just so full of excitement that I really did not care. And I knew that I was going to make the best of it no matter what. It's been really great to live with my host parents, or well, I spent most of the time with my host mom since she's home. But I really didn't expect it to be like that easy, because it's like you just live with one person that's like
Mhm.
older than what you're used to.
Yeah.
But it's really working out. And they have 7 grandchildren, which are from the age of like 4 to 17. So, and they come over about, I think, every other weekend. And so I got to always be with people my age every other weekend. And I do not think that I could handle that every single day. So I'm kind of glad that it wasn't a family with kids. I've just had my people my age at school, and I talk to my friends, and I have the grandkids, and I have my German exchange student that I like see every like 2 days a week. So
That's great. Did you end up doing any activities or any extracurricular things through school?
I did archery, like I said,
Mhm.
and that was like the second semester, and I made so many friends through archery. It's really like the best way to make friends if you are a part of a team, because you spend so much time with the people. Like we had practice 3 times a week, and then we had matches. So we would always drive there together and wait there and just talk. And it was really great, a great opportunity to make friends. And I was also in art club and yearbook club, although we never really did a lot there. I think also that at my school, we have, I don't know if it's like that at every school, but at my school, you have, yeah, your subjects change every semester.
Mhm.
So different classes definitely also help with meeting new people.
Nice. That's great. Okay, rapid fire. So you have to answer first thing that comes to your mind. Favorite English word?
No, 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 no. I don't know. I like passionate. Maybe I just like
Nice.
the meaning.
Okay,
But
that's cool. Favorite food?
here,
Mhm.
biscuits.
Biscuits. Nice.
They're so good.
Biggest highlight in your community. So your favorite thing in your host community.
Probably yesterday we had a goodbye party at church, and it was the best thing ever. Like it was so
Nice
great.
party. Favorite thing in the United States that you've been able to see.
New York City.
Very cool. Very cool. And if you could give a piece of advice to yourself before you came on program, what would that advice be?
Don't judge people for being judgmental. Stay kind, even if you would like to scream at some people. And just enjoy.
All right. That seems like pretty good advice. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, I think those are all the questions that I kind of had in mind. Is there anything else that you want to share or anything you want to brag about? I know you have quite a few accomplishments from this year. So is there anything that you'd like to share that from your year here?
I think that like House of Representative thing is a pretty big thing to brag about. Like I'm really proud of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I got to go to 13 states in total, and I got to see like a lot of places. I'm so grateful for that. Like it's been so cool. I've been really good at school here, which I don't think that's really worth bragging about because it's not hard to
Oh,
achieve.
come on. You got to brag about it. What's your average?
I think my lowest grade is a 97, but
Woo-hoo. Look at you. Fancy.
yeah, I wasn't there for awards day because I was in Texas. I got, I think, 4 awards.
Amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Even though it's not that hard, that's still really cool. That's real. You should be really proud of all of your accomplishments. I can honestly say your local coordinator is one of our most experienced. I think she's the current longest local coordinator who's been with us the longest.
I can imagine that.
And she really speaks very highly of you. So that you should be very proud of the impression you've made and the way you've been an ambassador yourself. I think it's no small thing to come here on program and just be such a wonderful representative of both yourself and your country. So I want to thank you again for talking with me and for just being such a fantastic participant. It makes us really proud to have students like you on our program.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
It's been a real pleasure chatting with you. Thanks for talking.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
All right. You take care, Noelle.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.